thought we were just gonna like go into it. I was really scared.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. We're going to start the program, and I'm so pleased that the program is being kicked off by our very own Northamptons. So, a round of applause, and then be prepared to be wowed.
Are we starting now?
Down, down.
I didn't know what the day was. I didn't know what the time it was. I didn't know what my heart would do. I was afraid of nothing when you called me on the telephone. I was a creature of appetite, and we played a game that you didn't like. There wasn't nothing that I could do. I can be so bad. They just took it away and we broke it into. Oh, color my heart, make it restart, make it restart. Color my heart, I want it more than I ever knew. The blackest lily, the blackest pony won't protect my heart from you. You were unnervingly delicate, and I had a weakness for etiquette. You laid a trail that led straight to your door. Was it a and I could resist, but it was hard to ignore. Oh, color my heart, make it restart, make it restart. Color my heart, I want it more than I ever knew. Oh, the blackest lily, the blackest pony won't protect my heart from you. Color my heart, make it restart, make it restart. Color my heart, I want it more than I ever knew. Oh, the blackest lily, the blackest pony won't protect my heart from you. I didn't know what the day was. I didn't know what the time it was. I didn't know what my heart would do. And I was afraid of nothing when you called me on the telephone. Color my heart, make it restart, make it restart. Color my heart, I want it more than I ever knew. Oh, the blackest lily, the blackest pony won't protect my heart from you. Awaiting a world wishing he could find to They are three together. They are for each other.
Stand by the stairway, you'll see something certain to tell you. Confusion has its cost. Love isn't lying, it's loose in a lady who lingers, saying she is lost.
And choking on the lost. They are three together. They are for each other.
Thank you, Northamptons. How about another hoot and holler? So hi, everybody. Welcome to this event in honor and celebration of David Narkewicz. Kind of a political wake of sorts. So inappropriate, I'm very sorry. Does anybody else feel the dysphoria of being this close together in a room with a bunch of other human beings? Okay, shake it off. This is like the most poked and tested group of humans I think you're going to find, so I think we're good. And that's in no small part in Northampton to the leadership of David Narkewicz and the fabulous team at the Board of Health. So let's start with that before we start the wake. So I'll tell you, I have no list of speakers, so I'm just going to pick people out of the crowd unless it's coming to me via text. It did, just now. Good thing, Alan. We're a crackerjack group, let me tell you. So we have a lot of expected speakers, but everybody's going to be brief. And the person who's going to set the example for that is Bill Wright. But wait. Before Bill models good behavior, we're going to just recognize a few of the elected officials in the room. It might be easier to ask people who are not elected to identify themselves, but we're not going to do it that way. Okay, so our great Senator Joe Comerford is here. Our great state reps, Lindsay Sabadosa is here. And Mindy Dom traveled over the bridge all the way from Amherst to be here. It was harrowing, but she made it. And this is a list of people in no particular order who are currently or will be holding office. A couple of them are on the speakers list, so I'm not going to name them now. But Marissa Elkins, Rachel Maori, Jim Nash, Adam Hines, Jamila Gore, John Thorpe, Michael Quinlan, and Stan Moulton, Pat Kaling, Margaret Miller are all in the room here to celebrate Northampton's leader, David Narkewicz. And it's probable that I missed somebody, so if you want to like slip me a note or text me or something like that, feel free. Because, you know, when you're an elected official, you like people to recognize you so that they'll remember to vote for you again. David, this is the last time you might ever be recognized. So with no further ado, we're going to start off with Bill Wright.
Excuse me, I got this. It's about 12 pages long, so if you'll just bear with me. As Claire said, you know, Claire's famous for actually passing me a note in the middle of a council meeting that just said, "Stop." Okay, well, it's come to this. Yet another bizarre transition that we're required to adjust to. DNARC is preparing to leave the building, and we're expected to be okay with that. Now, by the way, don't get me wrong, I'm ecstatic that we're about to enter the GL era. So, but you know, we're still just settling into David. And it's like waking up one morning and finding out that acid wash jeans are out and ironic t-shirts and man buns are in. And I can't keep up. Anyway, obviously this event is bittersweet and probably. I decided to run for council again back when the millennium was just warming up. And because the reason I ran was because I thought I had some wisdom to share with the new mayor. And I soon came to realize that that was delusional. He had this thing wired. And most of us don't appreciate the amount of courage that it takes to ask your neighbors in your community to vote for you, to approve you, especially if you're vying to be mayor. And that's why we see so many candidates who are more on the arrogant, self-entitled performance artist side. And it's the rare citizen who actually chooses to campaign while fraught with self-doubt and motivated by goodwill and hope. And it's terrifying. And so I'm commending David's courage. David's agenda wasn't defined by his ambition, but it was formed by his best aspirations for our hometown. It's easy to see the difference in outcomes between, well, let's say when an elected official runs to serve themselves and those who honestly believe in public service. We endured a presidential administration of arrogance and venality and live with the consequences still. While, by comparison, here in Northampton, we have flourished because of David's compassionate vision of inclusion and prosperity. All the accomplishments he realized, he did without insults or without brash pronouncements. It can be done. And he has been subjected to some pretty brutal vitriol without resorting to revenge, snark, or threats. He's kind of mastered that Zen flat affect that Wayne, he learned it from Wayne Fiden. Yeah, by the way, speaking of planners, the American Planning Association's Massachusetts chapter just chose David as the elected official of the year. They're planners, so that's why they did it on the 1 year in this century he wasn't elected. So the better dressed people who are going to follow me here include a portion of the remarkable appointees that the mayor has made during his tenure. And they represent his ethos in the culture of professionalism he was committed to and has practiced since he first took oath. So that's why I always say that when given a chance, when there's choice for mayor, Northampton's really always made the right decision. And that fact was borne out in our most recent election, if you're looking for further proof. So good on us, well done. So, I'm right there. Here's the last paragraph. Here's the wind-up. It had been my hope that when we both moved on from local government, David and I would join forces, talk to Pat Goggins about renting that space down there on the corner of Main and Pleasant, and open up Dave and Bill's Wicked Woke Weed Shack. And I'm looking forward to complaining about the lack of parking and the snow that's still piling up in the city. So David, I am filled with gratitude and pride, thanks to you. It's been a bona fide honor, Your Honor. Thank you.
You know, David wasn't the first white guy to be mayor. He wasn't the first, he wasn't the first Polish guy to be mayor, but he was the first pothead. and we're proud of him for that. Oh, so he was actually a pot dealer. The chief's right here. She's got it under control. And I'm hoping she knows she's speaking. Nicole. Okay. And I just want to note that being the mayor really, life is not a bowl of cherries when you're the mayor, or even like one cherry. Or a cherry tree. Yes, I went there. But Mayor Nicole LaChapelle is part of the mayoral support group for David, and she's here to speak to the challenges and the gifts, challenges that he had and the gifts that he brought. So.
Good evening, everyone. I hear the buzz and the thumbs up on Facebook as I stand with a vodka martini in front of that. Yes, I am the mayor of Northampton. GL doesn't know yet. She's not going to fight me for it, I know, just the first week. So one of the reasons why I have a vodka martini, because I am still reeling from the effects of last night and this morning, drinking I don't know how many vodka martinis with David Narkewicz at the mayor conference. And it's actually over martinis and vodka that David and I first bonded. I think it was in Charlotte at the Democratic National Convention. And we were looking for parties to go, and we weren't really on any lists. And so I walked up, I was like, let's go to that one, it looks really good. Dave's like, we're not on the list. I was like, all right. So I walked up to the table and I bent down and I said, look, my boss, the mayor, is behind me. I screwed up the registration. Please just let us go in. Oh yeah, I do that all the time. I walk in, I was like, it was great. I found some free vodka and it went from there. I also wear glasses. I'm not wearing glasses because David has taught me about something called plausible deniability. So whatever I say, I'll just say I misread it. And that said, so as a new mayor, I always had deep respect for David and his service. So I was like, I'm gonna go talk to him about all these crazy things I didn't know in my city hall, and now they're mine. And there were just a couple of wise words. He would say, he'd like, yep. Sounds about right. But they were helpful. They were well-timed. I had a couple of zingers, but you're so good, I'm just gonna leave them out and wrap up soon. But one thing that the part of the wisdom or whatnot, and I totally didn't believe you, David, was you were gonna be so proud as mayor of things that nobody knows and nobody notices, and everybody at one time or another is really not gonna like you. And that's very true. But, you know, I think of just watching what you have gone through as mayor long before I ever thought I would run for office, and always deep respect and a lot of like, how the H is he sitting through this meeting? I mean, I was thinking, if I talked only half as long as any Northampton City Council, we'd still be here at midnight. I mean, I just, you know, that's you, GL. But just in closing, David, you know, not realizing, I never worked with you and I wasn't elected to your board, so I'm good. It doesn't, and I don't have my class. But I do think, I mean, when I look around this room, when I look at your wife, and so many people who love you just as a person, but know you as a mayor, they do notice those little things. And they are forever grateful, as I am too. Enjoy the next part of your life.
David, are some of your siblings here? Yes. So I think, like, I came from a big family, and so did David, and I think city council felt like a comfortable place because a little bit, there were 9 kids, there were 7 kids, and it kind of felt like, oh, this could be the dinner table. But nobody actually did throw food at the city council meetings that I recall. Anyway, thank you, Mayor LaChapelle. I'm never going to park in East Hampton because I'm going to get a ticket now. I don't do tickets.
You don't have paid parking either. Come shop or pay with us.
You know, there's those parapets on the top of City Hall. They're there for a reason. Okay. All right, let's get back to the serious stuff. The next speaker is Susan Wright, who was school finance director in Northampton and then was the finance director for the city of Northampton for many years. Just incredible, wonderful person who David got to work with, I think, almost all, your entire mayoralty. So, Susan, the mic's yours.
Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege for me to speak tonight, since I had the honor to serve with Mayor David Narkewicz as the city's finance director for 10 years. His contributions to the city are lasting, and his commitment to the city's fiscal health has guided his decisions for a decade. He has been an outstanding steward of the city's fiscal position, and so, as Kai Risdell, host of NPR Marketplace, says, let's do the numbers. 10, the number of balanced annual operating budgets for the general fund and enterprise funds presented on time and approved. 10, the number of capital improvement programs presented and adopted. 2, the number of general fund operating budget overrides approved as part of the mayor's historic fiscal stability plan, which added $5 million permanently to the city's tax base to sustain and improve the wide range of municipal services Northampton provides. 9.6 million, the increase in the Northampton Public Schools budget from 2012 to 2022, over 40% over 10 years. 96.3 million, the amount of funded capital improvements from FY 2013 to FY 22, including 28.9 million in road and bridge improvements. 10, the number of bond ratings and bond issuances, with the city's bond rating improving from A+ stable in 2012 to AAA stable in 2016 and remaining there ever since. And one more, 17.4 million, the increase in general fund reserves, which went from 1.2 million in 2012 to 18.6 million in 2022. These are just a few of the monetary milestones he has achieved that have resulted in expanded services, reduced costs, and significant long-term stability and innovation from which city residents have benefited. In addition to these numbers, Mayor Narkewicz experienced many firsts during his tenure as mayor, but a few notable ones deserve mention. He was the first Northampton mayor, in addition to his initial 2-year term, to serve 2 consecutive 4-year terms in office under the current charter. He was the first Northampton mayor to appoint a female chief of police and a female DPW director. He was the first Northampton mayor to pass a fiscal year operating budget over a Zoom meeting after 2 a.m. in the morning on June 18th to 19th, 2020. He was the first mayor, or person for that matter, to legally buy marijuana products in Massachusetts. He was the first mayor to barely break into the top 100 of highest paid employees in the city. Congrats, number 87 from number 13. That just feels wrong to me, but. And in the spirit of our first President George Washington, the first mayor to wrangle with a cherry tree. So, sorry. Working for David Narkewicz honestly was a lot of work, but in a good way. He is detail-oriented, a perfectionist, a municipal policy nerd. He takes this job extremely seriously. It took a pandemic for me to see him wearing jeans and sneakers, as his usual office attire was a suit and tie, with the tie always carefully coordinating with whatever upcoming appearance or sporting event was happening. The position of Mayor of Northampton has never been and never will be anything but a hands-on job. Everything that came out of his office was reviewed and edited by him, right down to the placement of commas. When working out a problem or issue, he would pace the floors of our staff offices, easily hitting 10,000 steps. His trademark reaction to a stressful situation was to get calmer and more focused, and the city benefited immensely from his thoughtful and calm leadership. He is a glass is half full attitude. He is passionate about the city of Northampton and approaches everything he does with honesty and integrity. And while the job of mayor is time-consuming, personally, one thing I always appreciated about Mayor Narkewicz, that he was a parent first, and always, and that perspective carried through to his employees. My kids were only a few years older than his daughters, and just having a boss who got it. When your kids were sick or you had to leave work to rescue them from some disaster, having a boss who understood the flexibility needed when working full-time and raising kids was invaluable. In closing, city services are humming on time and on budget. Despair over annual budget cutting has been largely absent for a decade. Northampton enjoys near-perfect bond ratings. New initiatives, such as the Department of Community Care, are in progress. Critical infrastructure projects are underway across the city. And Mayor Narkewicz leaves behind a carefully assembled team of incredibly talented professionals capable of carrying the city forward. Running a city is tough business. The complexity in issues, tremendous responsibilities, and the media spotlight are reason to think twice about such a career, but Mayor Narkewicz did it extraordinarily well. I wish Mayor Narkewicz the best in his next endeavors, and I congratulate Mayor-elect Gina Louise Shera on her election and her willingness to carry this very unique city forward with new ideas and energy. Thank you.
I just want to note that Katie White is here too, who somewhere, and she's a trustee of the Forbes Library. And if I don't mention librarians, my dearly departed mother will smite me, or whatever it is that, because she was a librarian her whole career. So there you go. And I want to recognize Senator Jo Comerford. She has a little something for the mayor. Bet you can't imagine what it is.
Actually, I'm going to look for Adam. Is Senator Adam Hines here as well? Come on up, Adam. We're going to do this together because both of us recognize you, David, as the servant.
What's that?
Adam Hines in the room. As the servant leader that you are. And we're deeply, deeply grateful for everything you've brought, not only to the city of Northampton, my hometown, but to our region.
I'm documenting
Adam's So, Adam, do you want to say a few words?
Only a few. You're in such a great position here. You're finishing your role in elected office, and you can rest comfortably in the knowledge that you've just had such an impact, that we love you, that you have done everything to improve the lives of people around you, and that's what it's all about. So, congratulations.
David, two words come to mind for you, in addition to servant leadership, and they are grace and grit. And you have both mixed with integrity in abundance. You teach us all what it is to serve, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful. And Adam and I and the Senate President and our Senate colleagues want to join in giving you this citation. I think there was a joke as I was coming up. You must have dozens of these. We'll add to your collection. And it says, Mayor David Narkewicz, in recognition of your dedicated public service to the city of Northampton for over 2 decades, including 10 years as mayor. Karen Spilko wishes you well as well, the Senate President. Thank you.
And Lindsay Sabadosa, our state rep, is also here. And I believe also has one of those folders.
And I believe that State Representative Mindy Dahm is here as well, if she'd like to come up. All right. I was going to put a chocolate bar in here, but I heard you already have a really good one in your office. I do have to say, David and I, prior to the pandemic, used to get together once a month for coffee. And then one week he canceled. It turns out he had COVID, so it was a good reason. That was my time to pay, so this is the perfect time to retire. Thank you, Mayor. I also have a citation for you. Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Mayor David Narkewicz in recognition of your 10 years of exceptional service as mayor to the great and always active city of Northampton, which I present to you today, the 7th of December, 2001, on behalf of myself, the entire House, and our Speaker. Thank you so much.
I'm losing track of the list. I apologize. Next speaker is Pat Goggins, who has played many roles in city government and probably has the collective memory going back to mayors well before the first David of the David, Mary, Mary, David sequence. And by the way, it actually is David, Harry, David, Mary, Mary, David, just to make sure everybody understands that. Thank you, GL, for breaking that. So Pat Goggins, former city councilor, former just about everything, and current just great guy.
God, am I glad to get that mask off. Huh. So thank you very much. What a melancholy night this is. I'm sure we all have our own impressions of what's going on and where we are, but we're all better off for it. And I know, however, the one big mistake I made tonight was when Bill Dwight asked me if he could take a look at my remarks. Everything he said is right here. So if this comes off as a little abbreviated, blame him. You know, it really is, it's a pleasure, first of all, to be here. It's been a pleasure to be a citizen of Northampton and involved in many ways in the community over the period of time that David has been mayor. And it's a community that is much better off for it. And I appreciate so much the work that he's done. The thing that is most obvious to me was pointed out actually by my wife. She told me, I don't know, about 7, 8 years ago, I guess. She said, I follow David on Facebook, and honestly, I've never known so much about what was going on in the city as I do now. I said, really? She said, yeah. She said, what's the matter? I said, well, you were sleeping with the city council president for 6 years. I mean, honest to God. But the truth is that David has brought us into a new dimension as a community and in a way that is up to contemporary times, keeping everyone aware of what's going on. So much has happened. I look at, Claire mentioned, and I appreciate her mentioning that historic perspective, so to speak, but Claire mentioned the fact that I've been an observer of local politics for 50 plus years. And over that period of time, I've worked for the city, and I've worked for virtually all of those who've held the position of mayor in one capacity or another, and then I've been on the council myself. And it occurred to me that of recent memory, for all those of us who have followed things more closely here over the last 30, 40 years, David has really shown to me to be a mixture of all the great qualities of the great mayors that we've had most recently. With Dave Mazzani, for instance, he has the same imagination and creativity that David displayed. With Mary Ford, the willingness to make tough decisions. With Claire, who I served with and thoroughly enjoyed for so many years, a wonderful sense of humor and a seriousness of purpose and a strength of her convictions, which he displayed as well. All qualities that have served us well, and I think have come, at least in some part, by his own observation of what's going on in our community. And it's something that I think has served us well, and as it was pointed out earlier, we've been very, very fortunate to have had numerous, repetitive, good mayors for many, many years, and the community has benefited from that. But I think the kind of things that have already been described tonight, as my words were taken away from me, that everything from the bond rating approvals to the all of the work that's been done as a result of the charter change, something that I was personally in favor of for the better part of 45 years, and have helped put this office of mayor in the 21st century in a position that we should all be proud of. And I think we're in good hands with GL coming after. The council's got their work cut out. Having served for so many years, I know how difficult that can be. But as far as where we are, I think we should consider ourselves very fortunate and give David a big round of applause for all of his great work. Before we do, however, I want to mention one thing. If there's one word that I had asked of me throughout tonight, as people would walk up and say, what's David going to do? What's David going to do? I mean, everyone was asking the same question. So I'm here to tell you that He did, it's not going to have a happy ending, but he did apply for the position over at Weinzick Nursery of head of the fruit tree division. And that does sound funny, and he did not get that job. But the really sad part is he did not even get an interview. So I think there must have been something that was affecting their thinking on that. I don't know what it was. But part of what he has had to display in the office of mayor is resiliency, day in and day out. A most recent example down there in Warfield Place. But we're all better off for it, and I do believe he deserves a big round of applause from all of us.
Weinzick Nursery. That was pretty good, Pat. Did you write that really small so Bill Dwight couldn't copy that too? Well, you know, one thing that David has done, and it was mentioned before, was he's had really good people working for him. He's picked really good colleagues and to work with him. And you're going to hear from one who was in and out of city government and was a really key part of David's team for a long time. So, Lynn Simmons.
Good evening. I'm honored to be here tonight to offer a few thoughts. For those that don't know me, I'm Lynn Simmons, and I had the pleasure of serving as Mayor Narkewicz's Chief of Staff from 2014 to 2019, and before that, as a mayoral aide from 2011 to 2014. My time with Mayor Narkewicz actually started way back in 2005 when he joined the City Council as the Ward 4 City Councilor, and I was working as clerk to the City Council and License Commission. At the time, I worked with Councilor Narkewicz a lot. He was one of the only councilors eager to learn how to draft his own ordinance changes. Little did he know back then he would be instrumental in a massive overhaul of the city's charter and be in the top seat to shepherd in the changes from the position of mayor. This was no small task, and there were many opinions about how things should be done or why things were done, but Mayor Narkewicz always put the city first. Putting the city first was a common theme throughout his tenure. Most of the people in this room know that the position of mayor is 24/7. There are no holidays or weekends. Mayor Narkewicz's energy and devotion to the city never waned, even when things got tough. I find it completely fitting that one of the mayor's first big challenges then as acting mayor was to lead the city through the 2011 October storm, and now to be capping his time as mayor on the heels of a global health pandemic. He is likely one of the only mayors who had to cancel Halloween twice. Both of these events were emergencies our community had not experienced before, and there was little past practice to fall back on. A great leader rises to the challenge, pulls a team together, and gets it done. That is exactly what Mayor Narkewicz did. The list of accomplishments over the last 10 years is very long, so I will only touch on some of the highlights. The installation of a solar array on the capped landfill, conversion of all city streetlights to LED, overhaul of the city's website in 2013, followed by a redesign in 2018, implementation of Valley Bike Share, the Pleasant Street redesign, construction of the roundabout on Pleasant and Conn Street, parking improvements, including validation in the E.J. Gare garage, and launching of the Park mobile app, completion of a new police station and accompanying parking garage, installation of EV chargers, drafting the city's first administrative code, the support to help the DNA get off the ground when the bid dissolved, the opening of the first marijuana dispensary in the city, the sale of the former Fiker School, relocation of the Parks and Rec Department, and perhaps one of the accomplishments that Mayor Narkewicz may be most proud of is the renovation of Pulaski Park. I learned so much from Mayor Narkewicz over my time with him that I carry with me every day. For starters, whenever a big decision needed to be made, he sought the opinions of many people. He had a way of doing it that you may not even realize that you were providing an opinion on such a major decision. He listened, and then he mulled the decision over for a bit longer. This always resulted in a well-rounded approach, as he had usually sought the advice of a broad cross-section of people. When a new department head needed to be hired, Mayor Narkewicz would convene a group of people to serve on the interview panel. This proved to be a tremendous resource in making key hiring decisions, such as the Senior Services Director, DPW Director, IT Director, and the Police Chief. Mayor Narkewicz was always thoughtful, well-researched, and thorough in responses, taking the time to sit with an issue before providing a response. As anyone who has ever worked for him can attest to, if he asks you to prepare a draft document for his signature, he will undoubtedly correct all your grammar and punctuation, leaving you with almost a completely rewritten document. While it took some getting used to and made you feel like you should go back to English class, it always made the end result better. Being the mayor of a city of 28,000 plus residents is no small feat, but Mayor Narkewicz always made sure to consider all segments of the city in decision making. It was always important to him to have a presence in all wards. Every year, he would take his budget presentation on the road and hold meetings in each ward, even though sometimes he was the only one attending. He even tried to share the love to each ward by offering to build a dog kennel in just about every section of the city that may have space. Mayor-elect Chiara, I think he's going to leave that project to you. I can't finish up without talking about the mayor's presence on social media and giving a shout out to the mayor's real MVP, his iPhone. He never went anywhere without it. Scrolling during meetings, answering questions people posted, providing clarification, and sometimes watching dog videos. His maneuvering on social media and using it as a tool to communicate where people were was trailblazing for the position. There were few occasions where the mayor would be asked by other mayors in the state how he handled his social media, thinking he had a staff person responsible for it. But no, it was all him. Sitting in meetings while Mayor Narkewicz was scrolling or preparing a post would sometimes frustrate me because I didn't think he was paying attention, but now I completely understand it. There simply isn't enough time in the day to get everything done. You have to be a multitasker to stay on top of it all. I'm pretty sure there's no one from Longmeadow here in the room tonight, so I can say that serving as your chief of staff was the best job I've ever had. Mayor Narkewicz, as a resident of the city and a former staff member, I thank you for your leadership and vision, moving this city forward, and most of all for your friendship. I wish you the best in your next role.
Closing in on the end, folks. Nobody's held up a stop sign yet, so I'm going to keep going. And Lynn is, for people who didn't get that illusion, she's the town manager of Longmeadow, and nobody's going to tell them. We're going to have Chief Jody Casper is going to join us and speak for a few minutes, and her appointment was groundbreaking in the city and really just so forward-looking across the state. So I think that everybody in the city is proud to have a woman police chief, and especially one of Jody's caliber.
Good evening. What an honor to be here, Mayor, to take a moment to say a few words about David Narkewicz, who is a lifelong public servant, Mayor of Northampton, and I think most important for me, fellow Mohawk Trail Regional High School graduate. I know Senator Hines is in the room, and he's also Mohawk is well represented this evening in the room. You know, when I thought about what I wanted to say tonight, there are so many things that I could share about my experience working with Mayor Narkewicz. I've had an incredible experience working with him, but the thing that really stood out to me, and one of the things I think I'll walk away from my career whenever that ends, is looking at how we dealt with COVID and how we approached that. And what happened is a bunch of department heads received an email in early March of 2020 telling us we were going to be in a Zoom meeting, whatever that was. And we started then, and I believe it was 4 months, 7 days a week, every morning we met, and there was work to be done. And the mayor, as other people have mentioned, has that attitude of rolling up your sleeves and saying things have to get done. So from standing up a shelter in the middle of a pandemic, taking care of downtown, PPE for staff, thinking about remote working, all the things that now are commonplace as we sit here masked and this is our new normal, was certainly not our new normal then. And the mayor knew at that time we've got something ahead. And what did he do? He pulled together everyone, and as other speakers have mentioned, he relies on that collaborative input, the communication from other department heads. And I mean, not for nothing, it was challenging to be leading departments in this stressed, worrying about taking care of everyone. And so it was also, honestly, a place where us as department heads connected. And, you know, I got to know a lot of department heads better in those meetings and in their living rooms and meeting people's new puppies. My own cat, there was a house chicken. I'll leave that up to you on whose that was. But, you know, I was really proud of the work that we did. And it was 4 months every day, and then it was for a year, 5 days a week, having those meetings to plan for the city. And at the end of the day, listening to all the speakers before me and thinking about that, it just exemplifies exactly what the mayor is. Forward-thinking, compassionate, wanting to take care of everyone, city employees, people, community members, business owners, and he did that, you know, with all of us, and he makes us better. He makes all of us, I mean, we can talk about the great people in this room who have spoken, Susan Wright, and I, excuse me, I think of all the other department heads who were there, the fire chief and the DPW director, and David Pomerantz, who is also leaving us soon, and such incredible people. All these people together, led by the mayor, just makes us want to be better at our jobs and makes us want to work 100 hours a day, because that's the expectation, and it's no problem. But he knows everything. He never forgets anything. He is always working hard. He's Facebook posts ahead of all of us, and none of us know how he does it. But it has been a complete honor to have my years as chief, beginning with you as the mayor under your leadership. I'm incredibly thankful for your guidance, for your insight, for everything that you've given to this city. You have been a true role model for me, and I know that our department, I'm not going to talk about police community relations, but we are incredibly thankful for the support. I'm individually thankful for the support that you've given me in my role, getting through the last few years, which have just been incredibly challenging for so many reasons outside of, I mean, the health pandemic, police community relations, and just as we all know, the division, political divide, and communication, and all of that, it's just been incredibly challenging. So I'll wrap up there and say thank you so much for everything that you've given. It's been an honor to work for you. Thank you.
Doing a few more things. We're going to have a video that was made with by the Northampton Open Media with the collaboration of a lot of people in the room. And then we will have 2 more speakers. But I'm just going to claim the mic for one moment. David is a visionary, but I'm not sure why I got stuck with the back-end parking Why did I get blamed for that? That was your idea. Okay. I just want to correct the record on that. Okay. Since I'll never be invited back to MC anything again.
McGovern and Healy are coming next.
Oh, right, those videos, right. I'm sorry, I had the wrong videos. We are going to have videos from some elected officials who couldn't be here tonight and who have staff to make a video.
A bit over a decade ago, the Massachusetts State Legislature came up with a redistricting map that had my district move out to the Pioneer Valley. Never in a million years did I think I would ever have the privilege of representing the city of Northampton. One of the first people I contacted was David Narkewicz. And, you know, he was incredibly welcoming. He gave me a thorough briefing on all things Northampton, and he was just really kind. I'll never forget that. And I thought back then, about that line from Casablanca where Humphrey Bogart says to Claude Rains, I think this is going to be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Well, it was, and it has been. I mean, David has been a wonderful, wonderful friend. He has run the city of Northampton impeccably. He has brought together a brilliant team. He has been an expert problem solver, always maintaining this kind of level, calm demeanor, and always focused on getting results. And Northampton is an incredible place. We all know that, and that's why we all love Northampton so much. But here's the deal. The city of Northampton is in good hands and is in good shape for years and years to come because of David's leadership. And David, I just want you to know that we are also grateful for your service. We think the world of you, and we all know that you're going to continue to serve this community in a bunch of different ways. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your incredible friendship.
Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry that I can't be with you tonight in person, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to say thank you to our good friend, Mayor David Narkewicz. Dave, you have been such an incredible public servant for the community and the people of Northampton and the region, and you've been a mayor among mayors. You've also been a great friend to me and a great partner. And I know that while you are leaving this post right now, you will never leave your commitment to social justice, to looking out for those who are vulnerable, and to taking care of one another. I learned a lot from you, and I will continue to work each day in ways that honor the kind of mayor, the kind of public servant that you have been. And I wish you some much deserved time off, and I'm excited for your next adventure. And I sure look forward to hanging out and grabbing a cup of coffee with you or a bite in the fabulous city of Northampton. Congratulations, and thank you, Dave, for who you are and all you've done.
We're going to hear now from the mayor-elect, Gina Louise Sciarra, who we're all so happy that has agreed to step up and do this work, especially David. And as the old gray mayor, David, I'm going to tell you that you should not watch any city council meetings for quite a while, if ever. Okay, but I'm really looking forward to GL's leadership, the next generation of leadership for the city. And what I'm so struck by in this room is that I see the generations of leadership in the city. And it means that we're healthy and stable because we have that way of passing on leadership in the way we should be doing at the federal level, but even in some municipal town, it's very difficult. So to have this transition of power where people agree on the big questions by and large, and when we don't agree, we do it agreeably, is a really important thing. And if you want to see agreeable disagreement, if you can bear to watch the videotapes of all the Zoom meetings that GL presided over during the pandemic, you'll see someone who is very calm in the eye of the storm, and she's going to need that quality as she becomes the next mayor of Northampton. So, Gina Louise Chiara, mayor-elect.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's so good to be here with you and to celebrate David. As we've heard, there are so many things that can be said about David as a person, as a friend, a colleague, and a leader. I have the honor bestowed upon me by the people of Northampton to be able to offer a unique perspective as the person who gets to be his successor. I am glad that tonight we have fully covered what an impossible act he is to follow. From my unique perspective, I can say that David has taught me as much, if not more, about leadership through his kindness and his thoughtfulness as he has through his expertise and remarkable command of the position. I want to tell a story about a gesture he made to me, perhaps a seemingly small one, that had a profound impact on me. So profound and formative that I'm not sure that I would be standing here in this position of giving these last remarks before we hear from the guest of honor if he hadn't made that gesture. Apologies, I'm going to get a little bit partisan. For anyone who doesn't know, I am a lifelong committed Democrat, as is David. Oh, that's it? That was sad, guys. So David and I, and many of you, were together the night of November 8th, 2016, at the election night party for the presidential election. I'm sorry to have to bring this up. We all know how that turned out and what it was like to see those results start to come in. It was a very, very tough night. I remember the feeling of the fog and the heaviness of the next day. And in that dark malaise, my phone pinged, and it was a text from Mayor Narkewicz. And it said something like, "Counselor, I know it was not the outcome that we wanted, and it feels terrible. But tomorrow, we get back up and to work for Northampton because our city needs us to guide it through this time and to look out for those most vulnerable to what may come." I remember reading that in the car, and through what felt like a hangover, it wasn't, although for many it was that day. And my first feeling was overwhelm. I was like, wow, this is a really big text to get from the mayor. How do I respond? Is that like a right back at you moment? Like little single tear emoji? I don't know what to do. I don't remember how I responded, hopefully not ridiculously. I'm sure you don't remember either. But anyway, after that sort of initial reaction, the message of that text really started to filter through, and I was deeply touched. I felt acknowledged and understood and seen. I also felt proud to be considered part of the team. It gave me a sense of camaraderie and purpose that I really needed in that moment. And it made me think of my public service in a richer and more expansive way. It was exactly the compassionate kick in the pants that I needed to pull myself out of that despair wallowing and back into action and service. And it reminded me that these dark, hard moments are when our community needs us most and we all pull together. I found myself that day and in the following days thinking about that message from the mayor often, and I have continued to for 5 years. It's become a bit of a personal touchstone for me. At some point, I realized that it represents what I believe true leadership is. That as the leader of our city, David helped me significantly in that moment, moved me forward to lead from my own position, and also gave me an example that I have tried to emulate. Since then, there are many other times when he has very thoughtfully led by example. including this past month when he has welcomed me into the mayor's office and made himself completely available to me and my questions, and created a very comprehensive and extensive transition program like only he can do. And he's done it with great care and selflessness, and as Senator Comerford said, grace. And has been doing that as he's handing over this work that has meant so much to him, and that he has put his heart and his mind and his time and his dedication and his soul into for over 10 years. I want to give a very special thank you to Yelena and to Emma and Zoe. I want to thank them for all that they have given to Northampton and the sacrifices that I know that they have made for this work. Mayor, thank you for being a remarkable leader during some remarkable challenges. Thank you for what you have done for our city, for the solid foundation you are leaving, for the beautiful example you have set. Thank you for being a mentor, a colleague, and a friend. Thank you for the many laughs, and for the comfort and guidance when needed. And thank you for inspiring me and so many in our community in our service to each other. Thank you for being a model mayor and a model person. Thank you.
And now, a word from our mayor.
Wow. You guys got the PowerPoint queued up? I want to make sure I get that up there. I'm kidding. Wow. First, I just want to thank that incredible lineup of speakers, friends, colleagues, people I respect and admire. Just thank you for the bottom of my heart for your words and for your support and for the work that we've done together. Thank you. I also want to thank the people who put tonight together. A little bit against my will, I was not really a big fan. I was kind of looking forward to just going quietly into that dark night. But I want to really thank the team that really put this together and made this all possible. I don't want to try to name everybody because I'll screw it up, but obviously Jack Horner and Alex Giesland, who've been part of my campaign team from pretty much day one. And then if all the other people who were involved in this conspiracy for tonight could raise your hands, just raise your hands. Thank you. They actually endured more Zoom meetings for this, if you can believe it. They were having Zoom meetings to plan. I feel like, oh my gosh. So thank you. And obviously I want to thank all of the people who worked on my campaigns and volunteered on my campaigns and held signs for me and knocked on doors for me. You know, I worked on a lot of campaigns. I worked for a lot of elected officials. But it's really, when you're in that position and you run for office, it is just the most humbling experience to see people dropping everything and just like going out to do things on your behalf. You don't actually feel like you're worthy of it, but it makes you want to be worthy of it and you want to do as well as you can for them. But I mean, it has been the support and the help and the friendship. You know, I see people here tonight who, you know, hosted some of the first house parties for me when I ran for Ward 4 City Councilor, or opened their backyard to me when I ran for at-large City Councilor, or coffee hours for mayor, or debate prep, or just anything across the board. But it's really just been an incredible, incredible support system from the community that has allowed me to do this work. And it's humbling, and I'm just forever grateful to you for it. I also want to thank all of the amazing city staff that I've had the pleasure of being a colleague of. I always, when I send things out, I always say, dear colleague, because I feel like I'm a colleague of this incredible group of, 1,000 city employees when you think about it. But, the core team of department heads that I've been proud over the last 10 years to assemble, you've heard from some of them, just some of the best in the business and role models for other department heads in their field around the state. And then just all the workers who go to work every day to solve problems and to work hard. They often don't get a lot of recognition. You don't often see them when they're, digging a hole in the middle of King Street at 3 a.m. when there's a water line break, or, dealing with a downed tree or plowing the snow. But they are as much as an important part of this team and the team effort that the mayor tries to lead. And so it's been a real honor to be able to lead that team and to be really the cheerleader for that team, whether it's, snowstorms in October when I first became acting mayor to right up to the pandemic when we really, there was no, that wasn't on my mayoral bingo card, global pandemic. I mean, I pretty much thought I dealt with everything and, I got the override passed. I'm thinking like, great, the override's passed. We're going to be stable for the next few years. And then within 10 days of the override, we're facing a shutdown of everything, and everything changed. And but again, having that team in place and having all those teammates really made the difference. And then just to the residents of Northampton, all of the people who came to those town hall meetings. I understand that not everybody agreed with me on every issue. I know that not everybody voted for me. I understand that, but I always felt like when the election was over, I was going to be the mayor for every ward and precinct and neighborhood of the city, and I was going to go out to every ward and precinct of this city and try to make the case and try to explain to them why these things were important for them, for their family, and for the future of Northampton. So thank you to the residents, because you allowed me to do this job, and you elected me to do this job. And without your support, it wouldn't have been possible. And then obviously my family. Before I do that, I want to also talk about a subset of city employees, and that's the mayor's office staff. Obviously I talked about larger city employees, but the staff, and you heard a little bit of it already from town manager Simmons and from retired finance director Susan Wright. It's true, I'm a bit of a type A person. I bet you never guessed that. But I really felt like that, as the mayor, everything that we did and everything that we came out of our office was really representing the city. And I wanted it to be the best it could be, and I wanted to really, and so everyone who's worked for me has just been incredible sounding boards, hardworking, really have tried to help people every day, day in and day out, including people who are just in the most difficult situations, people who we don't even have a way to help them, but they just want someone to listen to their problems and to hear the things that they're facing. And that's part of what, call the mayor, when in doubt, call the mayor. And we really tried to have that ethic in our office that we would meet everybody where they were and try to figure out how to problem solve. So I've been blessed. I had the good fortune to have a transition where I got to have some great staffers who worked for Mayor Higgins, who stayed on for a while, and that was invaluable. And then as my team evolved, just people worked hard every day. And then to see people like Lynn Simmons, who, started out as the front desk person to, I basically wanted to make her chief of staff because I knew every other town was going to steal her from us if we didn't. I mean, literally one of the most talented people I've ever worked with. She doesn't know it, she doesn't realize it half the time. I have to convince her that you're incredibly talented. And, but again, just always there, always a sounding board, and always working on behalf of the people of Northampton. And again, to have somebody like you go on to this position is really, it's a tribute to our office and the staff and the teamwork, so I'm so proud of you. And then obviously my family. This is a job that can be 24/7, and it does require a lot of sacrifice, and I obviously did it in a really sometimes crazy way, trying to be everywhere and go to every event. And so for Yelena and Emma and Zoe, who made the sacrifices that they made to sort of lend me to the city for the last 10 years, I can never forget, I'll never be able to repay that time to you, but I love you so much and I love you dearly, and I'm looking forward to having a little more time to maybe make up for some of it, but just thank you for the love and support that you've given me. Yelena, I often say that is the least informed person in Northampton, like literally knows nothing about what's going on, like literally, and which is the greatest person to have as a partner. So like, because, I mean, literally. My refuge to have somebody who just cares about me and what I'm feeling and how, and doesn't care about cherry trees or doesn't even know what cherry trees we're talking about. Like never heard of it. That's been really just to have that refuge has been really important. And then just again to the wider city, to all of you who are here tonight, all walks of life. Business owners, people working in social service agencies, board volunteers, elected officials, people. When I gave my first inaugural, I talked about one of the strengths of this city being that when we have a big, snowstorm calamity, the community pulls together. When we had the horrific fires that Mayor Higgins dealt with, it was a tragedy, but it was Northampton at its finest. And the pandemic was another example of that. Not only city government, but nonprofits and regular people standing up resources for people. How do we feed people? How do we get PPE out to people? How do we get people vaccinated? I mean, that's Northampton. And I think that's what makes Northampton special, and why it's been such an incredible privilege and honor to lead this city. It's been the honor of my life. Now, I do have to say one thing, because I should probably have had a T-shirt made, because everybody says, "What are you doing next? What are you doing next? What's he doing next?" Every time I meet someone, I don't know what I'm doing next. Mostly I'm trying to make sure that the 45th Mayor of Northampton has a great transition, and we've been meeting, and I've been trying to make sure that I show her every skeleton in every closet, and make sure that she understands as much as I can impart to her before January 3rd. But I want to take a little time for myself. I want to pause a little bit and just take a breath. I might go on vacation, that's true. I might take a little vacation. I might throw my phone into a large body of water. But really, I'm going to be taking a time to think about it, and working on my resume. And I've been in public service my entire life. I've been honored to serve this city and been in various roles of public service and public policy. I want to stay involved in that. But I know whatever next position I go to, I will take with me the lessons and the wisdom that you have given me as the residents who've allowed me the privilege to serve in this position to that next role. And again, it's the greatest job I'll ever have. And I thank you, and I thank you so much for being here tonight for this amazing tribute. Thank you, and have a great holiday, and wear your mask, get vaccinated, get boosted, and thank you, and I love you all. Thank you.
If that wasn't emotional enough, we're now going to show a video about the mayor. You can watch and you can talk. It's like your living room. You can do whatever you want, but the video will be playing. And it's been made by the folks at Northampton Open Media. So.
Northampton is an excellent place to live, to work, to learn, to run a business, and to raise a family. We have so much to be proud of as a community, but we also face many challenges. I'm running for mayor because I want to keep Northampton strong and I want to make it better. I am the candidate with the experience, the ideas, the energy, and the commitment to offer a new generation of leadership to move our great city forward. Thank you all for being here, and I hope I can earn your vote on November 8th. Good evening, and welcome to the Northampton City Council meeting for January 5th, 2012. I'm Mayor David Narkewicz. All those in favor on second reading say aye. Aye. Any nays? I didn't hear any nays, so that was unanimous. I have to correct myself and remember not to vote anymore.
You've led Northampton with vision, with integrity, with grit and grace under enormous pressure, especially these last years.
You are the mayor of my heart, and I love you for this.
I remember when you first won elected office many years ago, I gave a puppet show, so I think that kind of dates how many years you've been serving the city.
I just feel like you have made such a lasting imprint on this city, David.
You've been wise and gentle, but firm, and just no drama, and so much has gotten done.
You have demonstrated that progressive values can be both fiscally responsible and bring meaningful change.
What is the fiscal stability plan? Stockpile some of the additional revenues, not spend it, and use it in the out years to build stability. We need to invest more in education. But in order to keep pace with that, we need to keep our revenues strong. It's going to be green, it's going to be walkable, bikeable, and we're promoting, I think, part of Northampton's overall commitment to sustainability.
David, it has been an honor to work with you on committees, to vote for you for city council, for mayor. As far as I'm concerned, you're the GOAT of all mayors.
Thank you so much for picking me to be your chief of staff, for trusting me with big projects, for teaching me so much about what it means to work in municipal government and to serve the people of your city. Thank you so much for keeping me out of fights in the parking lot.
You've managed this incredibly complicated process of running a $120 million corporation with over 1,000 employees in the middle of a public fishbowl with thousands of very opinionated people, all of whom, of course, are always right.
I know that you put your heart and soul into everything that you did, and it's much appreciated.
What the mayor did was to radically change public health in Northampton and in our region.
There's a strong sense in the community and in the wider Pioneer Valley that medical marijuana is an important health alternative for people to have access to.
Who would have thought that buying just a bar of chocolate would make him an international sensation?
Thank you for your years of dedicated service, not only to the citizens of Northampton, but also to the ideal that our community will always be a warm and welcoming place.
You were there every year, shaking the hands of the new citizens and reminding them how welcoming our community is, even when the national message was something very different.
Immigrant neighbors, it takes a village. Welcome and support you did. We are so grateful.
I thank you for being a friend and a role model and a thought partner, especially during this most challenging year and a half.
I've always said that Smith wouldn't be Smith without Northampton, and Northampton wouldn't be where it is today were it not for you. All of us at Smith owe you our gratitude.
When you speak, people listen, but when they spoke, you listened. So thank you for being a model of excellence and a class act in everything that you did.
And I think it's important for a mayor to get out of City Hall and to be out in the city and to hear the ideas, the concerns, what the values are, what the priorities are, so that the budget reflects those.
Your leadership is remarkable in so many ways. Forbes Library is in the best shape it has been in nearly a century, and we will forever be grateful to you.
Yelena and the girls, thank you for lending us David for more than a decade. And Scout, you take good care of David.
Your first campaign for mayor, which was described to me by someone who's probably in the room but shall remain nameless, as a campaign between Lord Voldemort and the Boy Scout. You were not Lord Voldemort, and while you were a little bit too straight-laced maybe at the beginning, you began to loosen up as your tenure as mayor continued.
Someone recounted to me a recent online exchange where a commenter had opined, "Narkewicz must be hiding something." To which another quickly retorted, "Hiding something? Are you kidding? The mayor tweets what he has for breakfast every morning." Now, that is a gross exaggeration. Hashtag oatmeal.
It has been my pleasure to work with you for 10 years, and I'm not at all surprised that the American Planning Association agreed and gave you the award of Elected Official of the Year.
Thank you so much for your support for the homeless individuals of Northampton, particularly during the COVID pandemic.
Really appreciate your insights and your friendship and your support of the arts.
Thank you, Mayor Narkewicz, for being a great boss and for supporting the Veterans Council and all the veterans in the community.
It's been such a pleasure and an honor working with you, first as a city employee and then here at the Career Center.
I've thoroughly enjoyed our 10 years together, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve in your administration.
I would like to thank you for your support of all of our projects, of all of our employees, and for your investment in the things that we have needed to do our job well. And since you are going to have some free time on your hands, I would like to take this opportunity to let you know that we are hiring.
And you really can't underestimate the importance in a busy city with sidewalks and concrete and cars to have a place that's green and that people can go to. And you know, Pulaski Park has long been a place for free speech, for parades, for musical performances, and just the idea that we can get rid of some of that concrete and create more of a green space for people to be able to recreate. That's going to be great.
This beauty and resilience, this is your legacy. Thank you.
I know this really isn't goodbye. I just can't imagine that it is. I have a feeling we're going to hear from Dave Narkewicz again before too long.
You can be a vice mayor. With the good luck.
And I so love our breakfast at Haymarket, and I can't wait till a lifetime more of them. Thank you, love you.
Dave, thank you for being a friend.
I wish you all the best. Thanks so much.
Thank you for taking good care of the city. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much for being my friend. I appreciate you every day.
Thank you for all you've done for our city, and every time I hit a speed bump, I'll think of you as well.
So I wish I had wine to cheers and toast you. Maybe if I'm in the room right now, I do have wine to toast you. Mayor David Narkewicz, D-Nark, as we affectionately call you, and like George Washington, who did not chop down a cherry tree and cannot tell a lie, I will say, I think you did a great job as mayor.
And congratulations, and I hope this chapter is amazing. You deserve it. I love you so much.
I love you so, so much, and I'm proud of you and forever grateful to just the supportive, loving, and incredible dad you have always been through everything. And I'm so excited for this next chapter of your life.
Okay, so let's ask one more question.
What is your favorite thing about our city?
Probably my favorite thing about the city is just all the different people that live here. I think that's my favorite part of the job, is that I get to represent it's a big and diverse city with people who come from all walks of life and have all kinds of different jobs and have all different kinds of families. And so probably that's, to me, the greatest thing about our city. And so the fun part of my job is I get to meet all kinds of different people every day, like meeting with you guys today and talking with you about Jackson Street School. I think that's my favorite part of being mayor. And I think it's why we have a great city. I mean, we have beautiful buildings, and we have beautiful downtown, and we have all kinds of other wonderful things, bike paths and things like that. But if we didn't have the wonderful people that live here, it still wouldn't be the same kind of city.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me.
Yes.
applause, very appropriate applause for a small room. Thank you for thinking of that.
I didn't bring enough of them, but I brought one of my business cards. So I don't really have enough, I didn't bring enough of them, but I brought some, so you guys can share them, I guess, so you'll have that.
And we can get some more out.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Enjoy the next chapter of your life and don't watch the council meetings. Thanks everybody for being here. Really well-deserved honor for our great mayor.